Welcome to regular session mayor and city council meeting 6 p.m. Wednesday, July 5th, 2023, City Hall Complex. City Council Chambers. Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, do me a favor.
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we had a backtrack delay on the invocation, so we'll forego the invocation, and there is no call to the public. So we'll go straight to number 5, financial monthly report. A, May 2023 financial report, FY 2020-2023. Ms. Jean, please.
May I have my question?
Yes, sir.
May I ask, I noticed we're missing a console.
Mr. Bojorquez,
Yes.
he's on the line.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. Jean.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. In front of you, you have your May 2023 finance report. So through May, we should be at 91.67% of our budget. If you turn to your table A, that is our general fund. And for revenues through May, we have collected $30,287,492. You'll also see on table A for shared revenues that we have collected $8,359,158. If you turn to table B, that is our sales tax. In May, we collected $1,925,512. And this is $2,432,662 over this point last year. If you turn to table C, that is our general fund expenditures. We should, if you look down the right-hand side, we should be at that 91.67%. We currently just have two accounts that are over, but overall, our entire budget is only at 61.65%. If you turn to table D, that is our HERF and our overweight funds. We have revenues in HERF of $2,285,007, and overweight fee collected was $356,391. And for expenditures for HERF is $3,281,366. And for overweight fees is $2,139,070. If you now go to table E, this is our sewer fund. For sewer, we collected $2,760,142 and have expended out $1,723,763. If you now go to table F, that is our water. And for water, we have collected $3,372,867. And we have paid out $5,477,936. And the final table is table G, and that's our sanitation. We have paid out $2,702,854, and that's what we've collected. And we've paid out $2,431,553. Are there any questions on that portion of the report?
Go ahead, Councilman Gradius.
On the expenditures, table A, we're running at about 5 million below our projected or budgeted account. Is that due to equipment that we haven't purchased or haven't received? Is that going to be carried over? Or can you give me a little more explanation on that?
Sure. There was quite a bit of carryover on capital for our general fund that we have carried over into fiscal year 24.
That capital fund that's carried over, does it stay with each department as it is?
Yep.
Just clarify.
So when we did the budget, all of those had their carry forward or carry over on, they were all listed.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilwoman Montiel?
Mrs. Molman, I just have two questions. Tell me a little bit about how the city of Nogales uses the bed tax.
So the bed tax is put into the general fund. So as it comes in, it's used for general expenses. Each city council can choose how that one could be used if they wanted it for something specific. Our city council at this point has not guided me in any other direction except for the general fund.
And when you say haven't guided you since you've been here?
Since I've been here, yes.
Okay, since I've been here for 2.5 years, we haven't had that discussion.
Right.
Just wanted to make clear. Okay, also, can you tell me a little bit and explain to the public a little bit about the HERF funds and what exactly do you do with the HERF funds?
Sure. So the HERF funds is our streets. So any money that comes in from the state for basically repairs and maintenance of all of our streets. It cannot be used for anything except streets. So that is why it has its own separate account.
On that note, does the bed tax have a certain clause there, how the monies should be used?
There's not a certain clause, though that one is up to the cities.
Okay. In the future, can you provide that in writing?
Oh,
Where it says
absolutely.
that? Thank you.
Mayor?
Ms. Moment, the HERF funds also they pay the electricity for our city lights also, right?
Yes, it does, because it's the city lights that are on our streets.
Thank you.
Street lights, yes.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Councilman Doyle.
That, now, the HERF is based mostly on the gas tax that's paid, I guess, at the pump. And, you know, I've wondered, because seeing how we used to have more people coming, floating from across the border, and then it slowed down, and now it's picking up again. Do you have any idea how, and then is it based on that from the state basis and all of that, right?
So it's all based on what the state numbers give us. So they base it off of, I believe it's 2 years prior. Is that right, John?
2 years back.
2 years prior. Mhm. So it's 2 years prior, and it's population in gallons.
Okay.
I knew the 2 years prior part.
Okay, I just wanted to get maybe later on I'll get some more information.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Bishop Bonilla.
Ms. Moment, have you received any reports on how the state is shifting on how what they're gonna do with their HERF funds, seeing that there's so many electrical vehicles now, and they're thinking of, some states have a highway tax now, or road tax that they have implemented, because they don't call it HERF funds, but it's a gas tax, because there's a lot of electrical vehicles now. That money has gone down. Have you seen any trends here in the state of Arizona that
I
might
have
affect?
not. No, I have not seen anything on that yet for Arizona. I can look into it most
All right.
definitely.
Thank you.
All good? Continue, machine.
Okay. The second part of the report is the water, sewer, and miscellaneous reports. So we have currently 6,166 active utility accounts. We have 411 delinquent accounts that are on contracts. The total of those 411 accounts is $91,301.13. We had a large decrease of over 15,000 for this past month. We had some of our bigger contracts pay off. We also have 135 delinquent accounts that total $289,429.49. Those are our accounts that we don't have the water for. That's our sewer and sanitation accounts. On that second page, up on the top with the businesses with the outstanding balances, you will see that the second one has paid off in full. So next month, you will no longer see that second one on there. For employee payouts, for June, we had 10 employee payouts totaling $13,075.91. For water, we had 2 employees totaling $1,730.23 in vacation and sick. For finance, we had 1 employee for $841.82 in vacation. For sanitation, we had 1 employee of $48.55 in vacation. For fire, we had 1 employee totaling $1,802.21 in vacation and sick. For HR, we had 1 employee totaling $337.38 in vacation. For facilities, we had 1 employee totaling $129.56 in vacation. And for police, we had 3 employees totaling $8,186.16 in vacation and sick. For the fuel report for May, we have paid out $486,833.58 for our fuel. And at the end of May, we were $54,591.39 above last year's expenses. Are there any questions on that part?
Go ahead, Councilman Bonilla.
On the last business here, the businesses, the last one, I see that their deposit was credited. Are they closing for good or?
We have not heard. So it's still sitting as an inactive active account. So that money is still due to the city. But we have not heard anything, like, especially regarding the business license. They haven't canceled the business license yet.
Okay, yeah, because I heard they were remodeling or something like that. So
That is what we have heard also. And that's the last we've heard.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you, Ms. Jean. I just had one question, was on the, over here on HERF and on the overweight. That accumulation of 2 million, do you know how many years it's been?
Let me find that chart. Mine are out of order. Okay. Well, for the carry forward part or for the amount that we get in?
The amount that we've actually,
So the amount that we received, what we had estimated is the 2,700,000, we received just about the 2,200,000. That is annually just from last July to May. That's what we've received.
okay. And we spent 2,139,70, correct?
We have spent 3,281,366 for her.
That's her.
That's for overweight, it's the 2,139,070. Yes.
Just want to make sure I'm reading it right.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We move to discussion items. A, discussion and possible action on the mayor's and city council credit card report for May. You want to take it, Mr. Bermudez?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, attached is the credit card charges for May of 23. And attached are all the expenses that were done either by mayor's card or anybody from council that had any charges.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Move to approve the charges presented in the memorandum dated June 15, 2022. Second.
Yes, sir. Go.
I know that the charges that we're talking about right now, are they including also what was placed on the card for the hotel or the booking on the future?
I made that comment. Those were on Letty's card, correct? Those were It's,
well-
those are for the city and towns,
Right, and my question is, how come only your cost and the vice mayor's cost appear and not the rest of us?
and I invite,
Not going.
No, I mean,
uh,
or can Letty explain that to us? I know that I got booked about 2.5 months ago. and-
I was just kidding, Mr. Doyle, but, Ms. Jean, could you explain that? First of all, I noticed that and, I know those charges go through Letty's card, prepaid.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah,
Sir.
and I don't see my name on and let me know that I was booked like in May
Councilman-
or something, beginning of
Councilman Doyle, it's, Perletti, it's the way the leagues of cities are handling these cards, and yours will probably appear charges on next month's report. So,
Oh, my name's gonna come out later?
sir.
Yeah.
Okay. So, no, the reason I ask is I am booked, right, for the event?
Yes.
And I've got a room and everything. I mean, I'm registered.
All 7 of you are registered at the conference.
All right. That was the main concern.
That's all I was going to say too, is you'll be on there next month.
Okay. Thank you.
My question is, and, to council is, yes, we're being transparent. We're trying to supposedly look at what mayor and council's cards are. And this is not my card or the council's card, but
But it's
that's,
charged to but it's charged to your account, so that's why.
it's charged to my account, but
That's
it's
why-
not on my card.
No.
Or anybody's in the council. That was my concern,
Yeah,
I know it's a trip we're doing, but it's not what we were expect when we made this thing about putting out into the council and approving it and all that. It was just the credit card charges, expenses. Am I correct, Mr.
I
Bermudez?
My understanding it was,
So
we'll talk to finance,
Okay.
make sure that they're not included.
everybody agree with that? Thank you. Okay, so you first, you second, you get second? Did we get a second?
Ms. Lopez. Ms. Lopez has.
Okay, so no more discussion. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Mr. Bohorquez.
You're welcome.
And all opposed? Motion passes. Item B, discussion, direction, and possible action funding the Greater Nogales and Santa Cruz County Port Authorities, Inc. Okay, I'm put this on the agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the motion. Any seconds?
I'm sorry, what was the motion?
To approve the item B, the Port Authorities funding?
Yeah, but for how much?
Yep, that was,
And
okay. It is,
direction for us to prepare the agreement.
give me 1 second. Since I started with a motion, move to approve the Port Authority support funding for the amount of 50,000, and with the same agreement that we had in the past,
Well, I would say, and direct counsel.
and
to
direct
prepare the
or
agreement.
direct finance and council on the same agreement that we had in the past with them.
Well, not so much the same agreement, because you've got, it'll have to change a
Part of
little
it.
bit, yeah. But if you direct us to work on the agreement, it's going to be basically what we did last time.
Okay? Do I have a second?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Ms. Melendez.
Okay, we have $150,000 available for this kind of, well, it's no longer called donation, but I don't know the way they call it now. So you received 4 requests from 4 different organizations. So if we're giving them, I'm not against it, but I just want to find out. We only have 150,000 available and we're giving away already 50 plus 50 on the other discussion, then the rest, how are you going to handle it? If there were 4 requests?
Right now, we're talking on the number one.
Yes.
You know, when we get to D, I think
We're not going to have any more money.
huh? Well,
That's why I want to find out right now, how can we handle it? There were 4 requests, and now we're giving,
and I know there's gonna be more.
of course, but there's not going to be any more money.
Well, that's something we all talk about. You know, right now, you know, I move to approve the 50 for the great Nogales Santa Cruz County Port Authorities, and you know the other items. You know, we'll look at them when we come. When we all started, we were looking at doing this for the Port Authority. You know, they're great alliance to the community. You know, so what?
When we had the conversation, remember that we mentioned that it was not to anyone in particular. We're going to really find out and how much we're going to give them. That was my understanding. So it changed?
No, I put the motion to do the 50,000. Do I have a second?
Are we going to have discussion or before we?
We'll
Okay,
have a discussion.
okay. Because I
It
just,
was already seconded. And so this is discussion.
Yeah, but
oh, it's a discussion, okay.
so the question is, you know, what are we going to do with the item D? Or what? Or you know,
But we have to get to item D.
you know.
Well,
Right.
we're discussing it right now?
Yeah, we're discussing item B.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
just to get some clarity here, you made the motion. Who had the second?
I second.
Councilman Doyle, thank you.
And go ahead, Mr. Bernez.
But this is, Mayor, this is just a question for you and legal. Just that there's transparency and I have peace of mind right now when I vote. I'm seeing here your campaign donations. There's some people, I don't want to read their names off in public, but there's some people here that are very close to the Port Authority. Are any of these that you remember from that donated into your campaign, are they currently on the board with the Port Authority? That you can remember?
Saulo, where are you getting that information?
This is but this is here.
Is
this
it
is-
on the packet?
No. This is I had these papers quite a while ago, and I'm sorry I didn't give you guys copies.
Oh, I don't have one.
But
It's like, okay.
but it just is it's
Is that a public?
donated-
Is it for public information?
so there's some people there that are very close to the Port Authority, and you know it's not illegal or anything like
I
that.
know, no.
But
Well,
are these
Oh,
uh,
this is the report.
they're just
that's fine.
That's your,
are these active members from the Port Authority, Mr. Mayor? That you can remember?
Oh, that's the Port Authorities. I know one, yes. You know,
can I say?
so I work in the produce business, Mr. Machado. You know,
The fact that
That's right.
somebody
I was gonna say.
contributed to,
it doesn't,
the fact that somebody contributed to somebody's political campaign does not in and of itself
I understand that.
qualify him.
That's
from
perfectly
that
clear.
type of thing.
But my concern is if any of these members are currently on the board. I know he's in the produce business. I know that. I don't have an issue with that. But are any of those names, Mr. Mayor, currently on the board with the Port Authority?
no? Mr. President of the Port Authorities, can you look at this list and just tell me who's a board, who's a member, who's not? I know the people,
Yeah,
But
me
I
too. Yeah.
do not know what they stand or what position they have.
Yeah,
No
and that-
one was an ex-chairman, but, you know,
Mr.
I don't
Chamberlain,
know what,
Mr. Chamberlain.
and okay,
No, just if they're on the board, in any shape or form, that's all, Mr. Chamberlain, if you don't mind.
On the first page,
Turn on the mic, please.
on the first page, there is someone who is a past chairman, and there is someone who was on the board. On the second page, no one, and that's it. Oh, there are 2 ex-chairmans,
yeah, but
first page.
We're talking about currently, right?
current board members.
Yeah,
Yeah, if they're former or done that. That's the one up there right now.
no one on the second page.
Chamberlain.
Mr. Chamberlain, now that I got you up there, can you just tell everybody, am I a board member in the Port Authorities?
Well, you end up being vice chairman,
Through the city only,
yeah, through the city.
but not personally in my produce alliance or business.
No, and that's a rotating thing. We do that. Someone from the county may be the vice chairman, but it's a vice chairman in for meetings and stuff like that. No, not necessarily the next person to take over. We have a vice chairman that's ready to take over when my term is done.
Okay. Thank you.
Isn't that more of an honorary
Yes, it is.
title?
Yes, it is. That's why we rotate it between the counties and since we've not had the city support, so the mayor has not taken that on. It's been a role that's been.
Yeah, because I had the same title when I was mayor, but I never had a say so.
You did have the same.
I mean, I voiced my opinion, but that was about it.
I don't think you had a vote, did you? I don't remember. Anything else?
Thank you, sir. Well, any other questions?
No, what I'd like to, I guess, just to clear things up on what the Port Authority has done, is doing, and is looking forward on doing. The projects that they kind of lobby for and have lobbied have been some of the biggest projects that have put Nogales on the map. They've really done a great work. They not only lobby on the federal level, but on the state level. I was very fortunate to work with them when I was mayor. And one of the things was the IOI. They were up there on the lead. The overweight fees that helps the city now, they're the ones that help implement that. Not only they go further back, even when the port of Mariposa, all the work that they've done there, the cold rooms. I mean, and that's just some. That doesn't include the overpass that we have now that puts all our students in a safer situation from the high school by not having those semis coming rumbling down the road. And now we don't have those long lines on Mariposa when we're heading west. Now I can go on a Friday now, and just like that, I'm on the freeway. Where before, say a prayer, felt like parking at McDonald's and having something to eat and wait for the traffic to clear up. So these roads, these improvements have really helped. Nogales, another one that even though it's a little outside the city, but it's going to help the city, is the Ruby Road project that's hopefully going to be done in the future. They're the ones that have been advocating to get the improvements out there. So again, to save lives and speed up traffic. And that's traffic is not just from Rio Rico. Most of Nogales goes by there. But those are some of the things. I mean, I could probably, if I had another minute to think about some more, but what I'm saying is that they do a lot of lobbying on their own personal time, especially at the state level. I remember some of the members inviting me to go with them to the furthest corners of the state to attend different board meetings that would help, Nogales. And it's something that, a lot of it comes out of their pocket. The 50,000 that we provide, it's like a drop in the bucket. This is for the whole year that they work on. It's not just, for a month or a week or whatever. They're constantly on the move. And I want to thank each one of them personally for the great work. It's a great team that Nogales has working for Nogales. So that's the way I saw it. I was very impressed with them when I was mayor. It made me realize how important they are to our community. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just want to make it clear. I'm not against giving money to the Nogales Port Authority. I'm not against. I just want that every nonprofit gets a share. That's my concern, okay? It's nothing against them. I know what they do. I mean, they're doing a great job. I know.
I understand. Thank you. Mr. Bonilla?
I thought that, Mr. Chairman, allow me just not give us a whole breakdown, but just a small presentation
Oh, yeah.
of what.
I was
of what
about to call him up.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chamberlain, could you please come up? Thank you.
I understand as a city, you're looking at budget right now, a one-year budget. And I understand what the constraints of the city are. I have my own business that I've been the owner of now for 36 years, and our business has been in business for 52 years now. And I have to tell you that I get it when you're thinking about, someone is requesting the funds and what the cost of those funds. Whenever I make a contribution, any charitable contribution that I make, or any other contribution that I make, I'm always looking at the return on investment. And, ex-Mayor Doyle said a few things right now, and I have to let you know that as a city, for $50,000, if I'm not mistaken, the overweight fees, that's $2.1 million. Is that for 1 year? 2.7 million? $2.7 million for overweight fees was contributed to the city of Nogales. I think the contributions on safety that we've worked on with the $134 million flyover and remodel of the 4 kilometers of the Grand Avenue to the port of entry have been tremendous. But I always look at the return on investment. And for $50,000, we're working on some really, really big projects that give back to the city, give back to the county, and give back to the communities, not only for 1 year. I mean, the improvements that we're making are continuous for decades to come and are of a value to the city for decades. And they're going to continue to be giving money for decades and returns on our investment. That's what I always look at whenever I make a contribution to anything that I do. I always look at, okay, well, where's the value to it? And you as a council, you should be questioning the value of every contribution you make. And I appreciate the questions that you're doing. But like I said, just in the overweight fees alone, I think you can tell which streets have been paved and which ones haven't been paved. They were supposed to be paved, only the streets that were with that actually have overweights driving over them. But I know that they've been used for other infrastructure projects of the city. It's not only that, also our advocacy with the Rural Economic Development Board Council has been very beneficial to the city. We got the city $500,000 for the water tank that is in West Nogales. You also had to come up with a matching to that. We got another $500,000 to pave Industrial Park Drive in cement. You had to come up with some for that. There is another grant that's also being given by the Arizona ACA that is going to pay from the IHOP all the way about 1/3 of the way on Industrial Park Drive as well.
Commander.
We have secured 8.6 million from the state for the Ruby Road and Rio Rico interchanges. That will be a tremendous value to Nogales citizens. And we've also secured on the federal level $50 million from the infrastructure bill. If the bill gets signed, we should get $50 million to put towards that remodel of Rio Rico and Ruby Road interchanges. The second biggest award that Senator Sinema got was $25 million. So our project was the largest project that was selected by the senator to submit into the infrastructure project. I think that's great for a little town of 22,000 people, 40,000 in the county, 40,000 plus. So I'm always looking at what the return on investment will be. The returns on investment of the projects that we work on will last for decades. We won't be around to see a lot of the projects that we're working on right now. We're working on the remodel of DeConcini and the feasibility study for the DeConcini. That will most likely be a $600 million project that will change the face of downtown Nogales for the benefit of not only our community, but for the whole state of Arizona and for our country. So I think that those are the types of things that we're working on. And on a more focused level, we're still working on the monies for the widening of the 4 bridges in town, which are Sonora, Gold Hill, Donna Avenue, and there's one more. I forgot the name of it. What's that? Baffert. So that's the 4th one. So we're still working on that money, and I know that we're going to be able to get that pretty soon. So all I can say is that, the $50,000 goes a long way in your return on your investment. So if you think about it in that perspective and what the community gets for your investment, I think you're going to see it's not just your run-of-the-mill, it's not just your regular nonprofit. It is a nonprofit that keeps on giving for a long, long time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Montiel, you had something?
Did you have something, Salva? No, and Mr. Chamberlain, and that's, for me, that's the most important question that I would ask myself is what do the citizens of Nogales get back?
Yeah.
And you just explained it. And that answered my question. I mean, we're seeing the results of the $50,000 that had been given in the past. And that's how I can explain it to the citizens of Nogales. You're getting something back in return. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Councilman Gradius.
I strongly believe this is a mutually beneficial partnership that we're engaging in with the Port Authority. It's a no-brainer. 50,000 is not a drop in the bucket, and our coffers are healthy right now. The return on our investment has just been explained, so I think we should move forward with this.
Thank you. Mr. Bonillas.
Mr. Chamberlain, does the Port Authority actually, you guys don't have an actual lobbyist in Washington, right? I mean,
We do not.
Not right, but you do, I know what you do, but just clear that up because there's no.
We have an advisor that we've had now for 17 years now, which is Ramirez Advisors, Ramirez and Associates. They've been absolutely incredible. The amount of money in federal funds and state funds that we've been able to get without a lobbyist. We are our own advisor. I've always said, and one of the reasons we made this organization is because no one knows how to tell the story of Nogales like Nogalians. And we were fed up 17 years ago with other people telling us what our border should look like and should be. So we're our own best lobbyists. So Memo Valencia, Terry Shannon, Bruce Bracker, the ex-chairmans before me, and the board of directors before me, and the mayors before us, and the current mayor, and the mayor and the supervisors before, and all the other people on the board, we're the ones that lobby ourselves. I spend a lot of time in DC. I spend a lot of time in Phoenix, talking to all kinds of people. I mean, the ADOT board, we spent 3 years lobbying the ADOT board to get the Mariposa remodel done, 134 million. It is very difficult for us to, as a little small town of 22,000 people, to lobby for these big ticket items. But we convinced Maricopa Association of Governments, Pima Association of Governments. We convinced small towns, cities of like Phoenix and Tucson, to push back their own projects, because we proved to them the value of our project that we had here, and they pushed back some of their own projects. In fact, they even cut their own budgets sometimes, and we did that for 3 years before we did this on a consistent basis. So as far as lobbyists are concerned, many times in many different situations, you need a lobbyist. In this situation, with the advisor that we have, he's been a proven advisor that's probably gotten our community close to $1 billion already in funds for different things that we've needed. So, and like I said before, there's no better person to tell the story of Nogales and the necessities of our community than a Nogalian.
Thank you. Councilman Doyle?
Yes, there's one thing that I do want to mention that I feel is important. There's a lot of agencies and a lot of folks that have a say on the kind of money that Port Authority brings. And it's been also, I've heard it from when the chamber, when I was more involved, when I was mayor. And it's folks that like to see that the city of Nogales has a little bit of skin. In other words, it's more support, but it matters a lot to them that we do support these organizations, because then they see a united community that gives it more credibility to their efforts, that they know that the citizens, the city, the county is behind them. And that's the way we get things done, when we're united. And so this is just, like the councilman said, a drop in the bucket, but that drop in the bucket shows a lot of what it means for the city of Nogales to support these organizations. And that's what we need to show the country, the nation, DC, the state, the governor's office, and all those boards, that the city is behind all of you. And we thank you for leading the charge.
Thank you.
It makes a big difference to walk in with the mayor or with a council member to the governor's office, or to ADOT State Board, or to ADEQ, whomever we're talking to. It makes a huge difference that you all participate with us to say, hey, you know what? Here comes the Port Authority, and they're going to ask for $600 million for the port of entry in Nogales, in downtown Nogales. You know what? At that time, I'd like to see every one of you guys coming with us on those visits, or one at a time, or however you want. But I think it does show a united front, and it tells people, you know what, they're working all in the same direction. The support of the county has been incredible. The support of the Fresh Produce Association, the U.S. Custom House Brokers Association, Nogales Economic Development, all the main members of the Port Authority, and now the mining cluster is also a big part of our board as well. So it makes a big difference when you all walk in and we're asking for big money to say, hey, they are organized, they are focused, and they're efficient with what they're asking.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? And, I appreciate everything. And, like I said, I really thank you for all the support you give the city, the county. Like I said, I've always said the city's in the county's in the city, and we work together. All your venues with, customs and Border Patrol and, CB, everybody in the Port Authorities is what makes Nogales go. So thank you. With that said,
I appreciate the council's consideration. Thank you.
with that said,
make a motion.
Hold on. With that said, being that I have a vote in the Port Authorities, I'm going to abstain from voting. So you guys see that I will not vote on this. So I call all in favor,
Aye.
all against, and one abstain. Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Item C, discussion, direction, and possible action, funding for Nogales, Santa Cruz County Chamber of Commerce. Okay, again, I put all this on the agenda. Does anybody have a motion on this?
Mayor?
Second.
What's the motion? Can you give details?
Motion,
So-
approve the amount and direct staff.
Okay, yeah, sure. Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion to fund the Nogales Santa Cruz County Chamber of Commerce for $50,000 for 2023, 2024. And direct the staff.
Second.
Oh, to develop appropriate agreement that both parties would agree to.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, attorney.
Brought back to you.
And of course, be brought to us, of course, for the final approval of the contract.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Gradius.
When we were discussing this during the budget process, I'm going to bring back the same concerns I had. I am all for supporting the Chamber of Commerce because I've attended a couple of their demonstrations and explained what they do. I just wanted to see if we could incorporate some additional measures with the money we're going to contribute, such as providing membership fees for numerous businesses, small businesses that can't afford it. It's not a lot, but I know there's some small businesses that can't afford the membership fee so they can access all their services. They have a bunch of really good services that I think would benefit most of the small businesses. So I'd like to see something incorporated within those amounts, if possible, to incorporate the membership fees for small businesses.
Okay. Well, I've got a suggestion. We have Ms. Olivia. Would you like to hear her first before we, or you want to,
Mrs. Lopez Jara.
Lopez, you want to make a comment before?
Yeah, no, I just want to comment. My experience with the Chamber of Commerce isn't that good. So I told you when we had our regular meeting, in the past, we asked for a report every month. We never got the report. And I don't know, to me, it's, I really I don't give my opinion for that. That means I'm not in favor of the $50,000 for the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Any comment, or do you want to hear? Ms. Olivia, could you please come up to the podium, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Olivia Ainsa Kramer. I'm the president for the Nogales Santa Cruz Chamber of Commerce. First, I would like to congratulate Mayor and members of the council because I think you made a very wise decision in approving the funding for the Port Authority. Even though we're not a voting member, however, we feel very proud and we always advocating for everything what they do. And I think that makes a difference in a community, working together. And I think they've been doing a wonderful job in their sector, as well as the chamber has done their own work that we have done. So congratulations for getting that, and congratulations to the mayor and council. The monies that we had always received, well, that we received in previous years when Mr. Doyle was the mayor, those monies were used to promote Nogales, to go ahead and be able to support any business that they needed help. However, That's the visitor center, and the funding goes to everything that is related to the promotion of the visitor center and tourism. And I would like to just give you some information that I thought that it was very relevant. Now that you're going to be making a decision for either you making yes or no, but just to give you the importance of having an active Chamber of Commerce. And I think there are some members here that they had seen the work that we have done. But just to give you an example, and I'm going to go ahead and give you numbers. During the pandemic, thanks to the Chamber, because we didn't close not even one day when everything was going on, and whenever the banks were sending customers to their customer service to apply for the Paycheck Protection Plan, the Chamber was there for all of the businesses, members and non-members. Thanks to that, and of course, you might think, well, it was not a big difference. But I mean, for us, because the small businesses are the motor, the engine of a community, we needed to have them with a lot of support, and we needed to go ahead and make sure that they could keep the jobs. So this is something that we did. During that process that we were going through, we were able to help 25 small businesses to apply for the Paycheck Protection Plan. With that said, we were able to go ahead and keep and retain 398 direct jobs. Indirect, that's something else. But what we had control, it was 398 direct jobs, which it makes a lot of difference because a lot of people did not lose their jobs. We also have help for grants, 18 businesses and nonprofits, which that also was the 102 direct jobs that we were able to save from small businesses and nonprofits, which is really good because the nonprofits were the ones that were having a lot of trouble and they wanted to keep their employees. So with that is showing the importance of having a Chamber of Commerce that can service the business community, that can be there whenever that particular business, like I said, it's not going to be the big corporation, not the big chain store and things like that. What we need to keep and always look for their best is the small business community. We do have a fee for small businesses that is not a very extravagant membership, which is not for other companies that we have. So we do offer that, Mr. Gradillas. And we, right now, after the pandemic, the board had approved a payment plan for all those businesses so they can take advantage of all these services that we're providing to the community. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you some information, and whenever you want, I have the reports available for all of you. And maybe Dean can testify to that, and this is going to be very surprising for you because, Ms. Montiel, you asked about the bed tax. And I'm going to give you an information that we've been collecting from the Department of Revenue and Economic Research that we prepare for to having statistics of how much money or what a difference are we doing on the annual growth of each category. Just for the motels and hotels, in 2019, the annual growth that we had in Santa Cruz County, it was only 6.8%. In 2022, the growth jumped to 30.7% just in hotels and motels, which originated the bed tax. Just remember, if we don't have hotels full, what is going to happen? We don't have the bed tax. So right here is the importance of having an active visitor center open, the 5 days a week that we open, visiting businesses, inviting attraction companies to go ahead and come and offer services to the community. Right now, I can tell you that in 2021, the total visitors that came into that visitor center, it was 3,674, the ones that came into the chamber, came to the visitor center. Just imagine, Nogales, Arizona does not have any other visitor center. What would you do if we didn't have this visitor center? Who will be giving that information to those particular people that are coming? And the answer is on the hotels. Okay, that's number one. The virtual visits that we have at the visitor center in 2021, it was 2,329 virtual visits that we had. So just add those numbers. If you don't have anybody that can assist all those visitors, who will be taking care of them? Now, packages that were sent, and this money was from the membership that was paying all this, it was 326. But look at what happened in 2022. The total visitors that came just into that visitor center, it was 9,535. And all this information, you can find it on the Arizona Department of Tourism, because we need to send it every month. So there you go. There is an answer. The total virtual visits that we had in 2022, okay, virtual visits, it was 3,307 visits. So there you go. There is an answer on the bed tax. Now, if we go back to the restaurants and bars, just to give you information, because remember, through the administration of Governor Ducey, when he was providing grants to expand and to be able to keep the restaurant open, he had grants. And we were able, like I said, we were able to have and assist businesses to apply for that. And I'm going to give you a very surprising information that maybe you will not even consider. In 2019, 5.6% was the total annual growth on restaurants and bars. 2022, 25.4%. So there's a difference of what we're doing. And that's the need that we have to have a visitor center. Not the chamber, because the chamber is very separate from the visitor center. But these are numbers that you could always research. I can provide you the reports and everything is clear. Okay. Retail sales. Okay. 2019, it was 8.4%. 2022, it was 21.6%. So don't you think that 2023 could be much better? Because now we have to take an advantage. There's different factors that Nogales could be on the spotlight. Now with the dollar devaluation, what we have, we are ready to go ahead and have campaigns in Mexico to invite people to come and visit Nogales, Arizona. That's number one. Number two, with the media negativity that we have, now these days when you need more, you have an active chamber and a visitor center ready to assist and be able to help all these tourists and whomever wants to visit Santa Cruz County. And of course, I mean, we have to be very proud to be in Nogales, Arizona. So I hope that I answered your questions and I'm ready.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Mr. Bonillas?
Mr. Kramer, you were talking about right now, under the Doyle administration, you said that the Chamber of Commerce promoted the city of Nogales. Can you please explain to me how you went about doing that?
Well, during those times, Mr. Bonillas, we had a full-time employee at the visitor center, which was from 9 to 5. And that particular funding was paying for that to be active. Not only that, at that time, that's when a lot of, and you notice already that relocation was very important, okay? So that particular center was taking care of that. And we were also promoting Nogales. It's like, just give you an example, this year with the Super Bowl. Was it this year? Well, for the Super Bowl, the Visit Phoenix invited us to go ahead and participate with them to have a stand. And we were the only visitor center that was right there on the Super Bowl, visiting Phoenix, promoting Nogales. And then on the waste management, that was another booth that we had with the Visit Phoenix promoting Nogales. And that's exactly what we used to do when Mayor Doyle was in administration. He used to support a lot of our efforts to go ahead and promote Nogales.
I have another question, or
ahead.
wait for everyone else, or
Go ahead, sir.
what is your game plan, or as far as the city of Nogales, do you have anything that you can share with us today as far as what you're going to do to promote our city exactly?
That's a great question because everybody is thinking that maybe doing marketing on flyers, which I think it worked very well. However, this right now is becoming really expensive, very, very expensive. And I know I buy ads from Nogales International. We do buy a lot of advertising from for Discover magazine. However, now that everything is going digital, we are doing a lot of promotion, like on the different platforms that we have. We have a very big fan, Mr. Chamberlain. He's always liking everything that we place, but because we promote a lot, but through the internet. That's number one. And I think that's one of the things that we need to concentrate, not only with the city of Nogales, but Santa Cruz County, because we have so many attractions. The lake, if you call the lake to make a reservations right now, Patagonia Lake, you're not going to be able to get it until maybe 3-6 months, if you're lucky. Okay? And we have the wineries, which is so great. And we have a big event planning for the fall that is going to be inviting the wineries to come. And when I say the wineries and the lake, even though it's not Nogales, Mr. Bonillas, but it's like an effect. It's a domino effect. They come to those places, and what do? They like what they see in Nogales. We would like to go ahead, and if it's possible, and if the budget permits, we would like to have billboards so they can see other face of Nogales. Okay, but like I said, it's a very limited budget because now we have to have the visitor open. Fridays, most of the time, what we do is that's when we're visiting other visitor centers, other attractions. We have a very good partnership with other institutions that are promoting and also that are very direct into tourism. So we'd like to go ahead and engage to them so we can learn and see how we can go ahead and promote the community.
And finally, Mr. Kramer, is the Chamber of Commerce apolitical?
In our bylaws, we are a bipartisan. That's how is this, that's how it's described. Neutral.
As bipartisan? Mm-hmm. Okay, so because I heard you go various times on the radio station and you picked a side, and you went, and you even, I'm not gonna go with me, but because I wasn't running for a re-election, so, but it caught my attention that you went on the radio station and
Mr. Bonillas,
you
if
picked
I can
one.
interrupt.
I'm asking her a question. If they're apolitical, so I need clarification on that. If but you're bipartisan, but yet.
I would like to answer that question to you, Mr. Bonillas, and tell you, the fact that I work with everybody, I like it or I don't like it, okay? I have a board, and I have a guide that I have to conduct myself with that. The fact that I like people and I make good comments, like I'm going to say with administration, with Mr. Doyle, we worked very nice, and we saw the partnership that we were working out together and how we were moving Nogales, forward. It's not the fact that I'm giving all the support to Mr. Doyle. It's just that
I understand that.
I see his vision.
But, I understand that. But again, could you forward me those bylaws, Ms.
Yes,
Kramer?
I can go ahead and forward you that.
And also, again, thank you much for your explanation on what you plan on doing for the city. And like Ms. Lopez Melendez said that I haven't been here long enough. When I came in here, the funding had stopped already.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And Mr. Bonillas, I would like to add something. I mean, the way the times we're going right now, working, well, the mayor can go ahead and testify to that. If you don't have a good team, you're not going to be able to move anything ahead. So it has to work as a team. And that's why, like you said, we work with other we work with other organizations, we work with the county, we work with every single person that comes in, and we were discussing that today in one of our meetings, that we want to go ahead if it's something that is affecting the chamber's credibility, we're going to step aside. But the way that we're seeing right now is that we would like to work together in peace and respect each other on each of our own responsibilities and our own guidelines that we have in in our organizations. But I think it's very important that we, first of all, we deserve this respect. I don't think that anybody should be putting up to, even if you're going to give me 50,000 or if you're not going to give me that. I think we all deserve respect, and we need to work together. Times are changing. There's many things coming to Santa Cruz County and Nogales, and if we don't work together, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. So I hope I answered your question.
Thank you. Somebody else? Ms. Montiel?
Yeah. So, thank you. And I know you're not in court, and I feel very uncomfortable that you're standing here having to even kind of talk about your political affiliation. As a woman, I feel sometimes that we have to prove ourselves much more than men do. And maybe it's about time someone has to say it. I feel very badly for you that you have to stand there and almost beg for $50,000. So I'm not related to you. You're just an acquaintance. I've known you. We've known each other for a long time. So what I did is when I saw this on the agenda, I did not put it on the agenda. Mr. Maldonado did. If you recall, if my memory serves me well, 2 years ago, I put this on the agenda. I put the Port Authority and I put you on the agenda. And it wasn't approved. It was not approved. Okay? So I learned a lesson, right? Talking about politics. So here we are again. We have you on the agenda and we have the Port Authority on the agenda. Okay? And I feel uncomfortable because I feel that both of these entities give back to the community. But in my personal opinion, I feel that there's something that is personal going on here, and I feel it, okay? And so I did my due diligence, we love using that word, and I went and into the Department of Tourism, because you can't, argue with facts. You can't argue with what the Port Authority is doing if you look at all the projects out there. So I went and into this website, and it's clear and precise. Of course, it deals with numbers and so forth. And I went into it, and I saw the collaboration that you do directly with the community. So, for example, the loans that they're called payroll loans. You gave out 25 small loans. Am I right? Yes. 25. Okay. Mm-hmm. And no one else did that in this community. No one else did that. Okay. You did that. The city didn't pay you $50,000 to do that. Okay. The jobs that were saved by doing so, like you said, I think that's what you said, but when I looked at the data, it was about 398 jobs that were saved because of the 25 small business loans, okay? Then the grants, and correct me, I'm not an expert in grants or any of this sort of stuff, but grants, are these federal grants or they're government, both federal and state grants? Okay, there are 18 of them, is that right? So out of these 18, there were 102 jobs that were saved. Okay, and I'm not talking about Walmart, I'm not talking about Home Depot, I'm talking about la señora ya que vende, nos da de comer, the small businesses, right? Machis and so forth, the businesses that I visit constantly. So because you gave us back, you helped us, you gave us something back. And what I mean by that is, look at the bed tax that this city of Nogales gets. The bed tax that the city of Nogales gets, for example, if you look at 2022, 2023, and I'm not an expert, but I sure can read numbers. Just the month of May, the bed tax brought in $43,000. 43 to the general fund for us as a community to use. You're talking about giving back something? You are giving back something. We're just giving you, or we're going to vote tonight to give you $50,000. I don't even know if you could hire someone for $50,000. So then I went to the chamber the other day. I don't think you were there. And I asked your assistant, how much does it cost to give those little, simple as this, those little bags that you give to the businesses for you to run off the material that's in there, and it's all informational material. Every single bag cost about anywhere from $40 to $60. Who pays for that? Just a simple question. Who pays for that?
That is paid by the membership.
By the members, okay? But when the members go back, right, they hire employees, right? And then those employees bring in other people to come and do business with Nogales, and we get the revenue. So we get something back from it. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about, what does Nogales get for $50,000? Well, the bed tax, and the numbers are right here. And in fact, during the pandemic, the numbers went up, just like they did at people crossing. They're going up and up and up, increasing. So I just wanted to deal with the facts, not personal feelings here. And not that I'm saying there's personal feelings. We all have our thoughts about different entities here. But the chamber and the Port Authority has been historically funded for years after years, except the last 4 years. And so now we just are funding the Port Authority, and I feel uncomfortable that we don't fund the chamber. And incidentally, I called municipalities to see if they have those partnerships with the chambers. And I didn't find one that doesn't have a partnership with the city. I didn't call all of them, there's hundreds of them. But the ones I did call, they have a very strong connection and collaboration with their chamber, their local chamber.
Something that I would
Thank
like
you.
to add, just as a comment from the chamber. When I'm here, I'm not asking for a donation because it's against the law to go ahead and give us a donation. And you all know that we're not supposed to receive any donations from, that is public money, okay? We're not here begging for money. We're here to provide a service. If you think as a mayor and council that you don't deserve the service, you have all the right to go ahead and deny it. But think about it. When you don't have a visitor center and the numbers are there, who's going to be taking care of that? At one point, the chamber board, we were thinking to close the visitor center because that's where all the money is going right now, because we have to have a person there. I could be working from my house if I was just the chamber. However, we need to have that visitor. So the chamber is one thing and the visitor tourism is something else. So if we don't have a visitor center, which we could close at any time, who would be affected? Not us, not me, Olivia. I could care less. I don't have any family anymore. I don't have any ties anymore in Nogales. So I could go ahead and be driving to Sahuarita. I could be driving to Tucson to go ahead and do my own business. But I'm doing it because I love my community and because I still have a lot of faith that we can make a difference.
Thank you. Mr. Gradias, go ahead.
I don't know why in the past they went away from this partnership, and I think right now we are not members of the chamber, but if we move forward, I think we got to get more involved as a city and as a chamber, and mutually working together. I think we can do a lot more than infighting or outfighting or whatever. So it's time to make an investment in our city and our citizens and our small businesses, with the caveat that we do help the smaller businesses in whatever way we can. If waiving their fees or something, I would really like to see that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Doyle.
Yes, well, thank you, Olivia. I had the pleasure and honor of working with you in the past, and kind of when I've been out of town, I usually stop at different visiting centers and tourism agencies, and I always mention your name just to see what they have to say. I'm always surprised that most of the people in charge of those places know you by name, and they're very fond of you. And they say they work with Nogales close because of the connection they have with you. They send people down here when they're asking about things down here on the border, and if they have a question, they just call you directly, and you give them a satisfying answer that encourages them to make that visit down to Nogales. So I want to thank you for that, because it's something that's unseen. And the other thing with, just so the public will know, that bed tax wasn't really made for the general fund. It was voted by the people of Nogales to support tourism. That's what the bed, because of the hotels and everything, that's where the money comes from the bed tax. And it's there for us to support you, to support what you're doing for Nogales. And again, it's very important. Now, I don't know about the past administration, or the mayor, I should say, why he was short-sighted not seeing that, because as a mayor, that's the first thing we start seeing. When people make comments, we see how important the Port Authority is as an arm of the city, the chamber, and the visiting center, how important it is to our community. I mean, you guys kind of go hand in hand. You just cover different areas, but we need you. And I thank you that you've hung in there. And, you know, one thing that we can't afford to lose is a person like you that's a spark plug for the community. No, and the knowledge you have and the connections, the contacts, the people that know you already, of your integrity, of your work ethics, of you as a person. That helps the chamber and the visiting center, and that's what helps us as Nogales to bring more tourism and hopefully keep, like you did, businesses alive, which retain jobs for our community. And I thank you for that effort that you make. And I'm very proud to say that I've worked with you like that in the past. And I think, like Mr. Gradilla said, we need to reconnect, because people from outside and in the community, but especially outside the community, see that we have a well-oiled, united machine working for Nogales in every area. And the Port Authority and the Chamber are integral parts of that machine. So you guys keep up doing the great job, and we're going to support you 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dahl. Councilwoman Montiel.
I'm just curious, when did they impose that bed tax? When did the voters vote for that?
I'm sorry,
When did they vote for the bed tax? When did they impose that? Was that in
oh my
17?
God, I don't
or-
have it right out.
Okay, no,
But it
I'm
was
curious.
on
So,
Mr. Daniel
Your-
Doyle's administration, the mayor, Daniel Doyle administration.
80s?
Uh-huh.
okay, so
That
I'm
is
going to ask a legal question. You already know which one I'm going to ask. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Bonilla.
Thank you for your kind comment.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Ms. Kramer, I've always wondered, and since Councilman Gradillas was discussing about waiving membership fees and stuff like that, what is the difference? Because I noticed on your website you have gold, silver, and bronze memberships, right? So if I'm opening up a business and I'm barely finding my way to my business, what would be the difference if from a person getting the gold or silver or bronze? What are there less services provided, or how does that work?
There's different tiers with the membership. There's different tiers with the membership, and the services go by the membership that you pay. However, since we're a small chamber, okay, not like the Tucson or the in Phoenix, okay, we try to provide, the most that we can to every member. And if we were not doing our job and the membership and providing the services to the businesses, we would not be growing. And with the help of my board, with the staff, I have to brag. I mean, we're growing in a fast pace. As a matter of fact, I have to give you the good news. Very soon, you're going to be invited to a grand opening of the big business that is coming to Santa Cruz County. Because we've been in constant contact, not only with the box chain stores, but also with the small businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I want to thank you, Miss Olivia, for all the support. And, we've been talking, and we've had discussions, good and bad, but that doesn't change the relationship and how I, myself feel about the chamber. There's always going to be ups and downs, but I really appreciate all you guys do. We've been talking about the support in getting the city out there, getting the word out, Mexico, Phoenix and all that. A lot of times I felt when I first started that, they bypassed Nogales and talk Phoenix and stuff like that. But it is, something that I started to look at, and I think it's very important that, the whole city, the county, puts Nogales in the map. Puts Nogales in the map and creates, attractions. I think we're in the era of boom to happen in Nogales, opportunities. So, I'm in favor and support you. So let's work together and get things done. Any other discussion? Well, that's it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Did Hector say anything? Contestó Hector? Okay, thank you. Item D, discussion, direction, and possible action.
Mayor, before we go any further, this thing's flickering here.
Here.
Okay,
Battery
it seems
fell.
like it came on. Before we go any further on item D, I'd like to make a motion to table that until we get more information, considering some of the things already that have gone on. And my motion is to table it till we get together again on item D.
Do I have a second on it?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, yes, as we were discussing, we have a certain amount of money left after the above two items. And we have a list of, of people that feel they have a need for the city to also help them out. And I'm not that familiar with all the people that are asking, and it's a thing that we need to look into the different organizations to see which ones are going to be able to give back more to the city of Nogales, like we did here with the two organizations. So I think we're going to need a little time, and hopefully legal can help us out on some of those choices. So I'd like to be able to inquire a little more, and then we can discuss it on the next meeting.
But
I have a question, Mr.
go ahead, sir.
Or
Bonillas?
for Mr. Bermudez. This item number, the D, does this cut into the $150,000 that we set aside for
That would be part of it,
that would be part of it?
yes.
Well, this has been going for many years. I mean, I've never really gotten involved that much, but personally, I don't have any issues with this, and I think that's one of the problems we're going to be running into, is when is it that we get to decide who's worthy and not worthy This event has been done for how many years now, Councilwoman?
12 years.
So I don't see what we need to look into it. I mean, every year it does get a little bit more expensive, but just a little bit, right? Councilwoman Menendez?
Yes.
So I don't see why the need to table it. I mean, that's,
Councilman Gradias?
Last year, didn't we fund this under something else? I don't think we had set aside money like we did this year, so, and in the prior years.
If we can address that, Mr. Bermudez and I talked briefly about this before. What we have to clarify is that when we're talking about contributions, we were using the word donations, contributions, and so on to certain entities and what they would be doing for the city of Nogales. For example, the Port Authority and the Chamber of Commerce. Those are agreements, service agreements that came under that $150,000, where we contribute, not donate. You contribute something and get something in exchange for that contribution. Okay, versus the support for community events like Fiesta de Patrias, 4th of July, and so on. And those were addressed separately in your budgeting process. So, for example, if the funding for Fiestas Patrias would probably look at that, and of course, the manager's the ultimate say on that, at what was funded for community events. And that's what's going to determine that. And if there was not enough, and the council determines that that's what they want to support this event or any other event, then we would address the issue of how to get money into that particular fund, whether it come from a budget adjustment or from the contingencies or so on. But we've got to keep those two ideas separate. We had that fund, which was different from the support of the community events fund. Does that make any sense, or did I confuse it?
Well, it makes sense, but wasn't mentioned like that at the budget, I think.
And so in connection with that, Mr. Doyle, then we'll try to figure out what's what with all of that.
Yes, and that's the reason.
Well, and
For the time being.
now I understand why you wish to table. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to make it clear because we're going back to the, trying to pick and choose and getting a little personal. We all celebrate and we all take something away from these cultural events. But my question is a little bit more in the legal sense of it. Like Class A, there's a number of Class A events. I would like to know in the future, we could put on the agenda, what events are Class A? What does that entail to be a Class A event? What responsibilities legally does the city have? So, for example, these cultural events or any, there's a lot of in-kind monies that are put into these events. So, for example, let's say the one that's coming up, Fiestas Patrias, a lot of in-kind, thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money is used for in-kind. Setup, the overtime of the police, the fire department, setting up parks and recs, cleaning up, all that is in-kind money. And I asked Mr. Bermudez, and I know I didn't give you enough time, I'm sorry, Mr. Bermudez, but I wanted a list of all the in-kind monies, which I know it's going to take some time, for all the events, not just these events, but also the other events, because I know we have monies designated for like the 4th of July incidentally that took place yesterday. But there's also a lot of in-kind money because, for obvious reasons, right? So we might not spend a certain amount, like they're asking for $10,000 for these Fiestas Patrias, but there's a lot of in-kind money that has been a part of these events. that I would like to get a list of the in-kind. I know you're gonna have to break up over time. You're gonna have to break up how much it costs to hire, to get the potty ports or whatever they're called, and the gates that you separate the people from the audience, and all this other stuff that is not on the list that was submitted to us, that actually they're asking $10,000 and then they break it up like stage and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in-kind monies that the city pays to set up and do all that legwork to get this event ready. And then also the cleanup after the event. That's a lot of money for each event already. So that's why I'd like to sit on it and table it, not because it's something personally against it, but let's look at the facts and see how much in-kind monies are paid for all these events that are under Class A. Okay, so I'd like to have that sometime soon before we meet about this again. Thank you.
Councilman Montiel, just a clarification, you want an in-kind amount of every single event that we have, Class A, or any event that we have in general? As far as to in-kind?
Well, for example, let's start with this one here.
Okay.
Because I know we're tabling it. In fairness, they need to know. So let's. I would like to have it sometime this week. The in-kind monies that are put into Fiestas Patrias, for example. So, and did I answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. And another thing too is, which is a good point that someone here, one of my colleagues brought up. Because we opened this can of worms, I know that I got a letter from the Hilltop Gallery asking for $30,000. So all these different entities, La Línea, it's public information, we got another request for $30,000 from La Línea. So they're going to start coming in. And I think that it behooves you, Mr. Bermudez, to get legal involved and see, how we can, what direction you take us to when we sit down in this meeting that we're going to have in the future, because we're tabling it, so that we could deal with the legalities too, in terms of giving public funds to these different entities. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Councilman Gradius.
I think we're looking at this all wrong because we have set aside monies for other events. We just did the Cinco de Mayo. It wasn't through the $150,000 that we set aside, and it's been a common practice for years. This is cultural events that happen. Nogaleans expect this, and now we're trying to take it away from them because we think it's in the $150,000 item, but it's not. It's actually, we do have money set aside. I think we've always budgeted separately, so maybe it's worded wrong and it shouldn't be as it is here. Maybe there's a misconception that we're trying to take it out of the $150,000 that we set aside for community outreach, for lack of a better term. But these events, including the 4th of July, are budgeted. Cinco de Mayo, Fiestas Patrias, Christmas Parade. I don't see any different because those are all cultural events that we have for the city of Nogales, and the people expect these. So I think the community would probably be upset if we didn't support it around this year just because it doesn't fall within the $150,000. So we got to look at that too.
I think, at least from my perspective, it's not much that we're not going to support it.
Yeah.
It's more of how much we're going to support and how much we've been putting, in the past. How much has it cost us? Where are we? If I see here, we're looking at a $10,550. That's the fiesta, what they gave us as a budget that they spent last year, correct? That's what we spent 2023. Or no, this is expected to be this year. So I think it's more of getting, how much can we do, how much can't we do, but not just one event, with all events. That's the feeling that I have from that in question. It's not funded. It's basically, I actually got a letter also from the Consul General, about supporting it. He didn't put an amount. I know they supported it in the past. So how much do we, each go at it, or, how do we make it happen? We'll make it happen. It's going to happen. But let's see how we do our numbers, so later on we're not saying, oh, now we don't have for this or that. That's my question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ms. Melendez.
That you were asking about the in-kind. In the past, we always get the in-kind amount, and it's roughly $3,500. That's what the city in-kind was paying. The rest of what we expend, we paid for the events. That means Fiestas de Mayo, Fiestas Patrias, and Dia de los Muertos. The Cultural Arts Committee was sponsoring the event in full. The past year, we got a grant, and that's why we were able to make it bigger than before. But this year, we don't have the money. That's why we were asking the city to support the event. We've done it for years because we had the money, but it was a small event. Every year is getting bigger. Last year was much bigger because of the grant. But the in-kind that the city was giving to the events was $3,500. That's what the city was, and then in-kind also from the Consulado, and the rest was paid through the Cultural Arts Committee. But this year, we wanted it to be better every year, so that's why we gave you all the information, Mr. Doyle. You have it there, point by point.
On that.
Yeah. So it shows how much we're spending. And it's right here. It's clear, and you can question whatever you want, but that's what it is. That's what we want the city to be part of the event, because really it's an event for the city. It's a city event. Even though we were paying for it, we don't care. As long as the citizens of Nogales get advantage of it, that's what we want. It's not us.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
past practices have been for these events to, the city has contributed in kind as far as to personnel, chairs, tables, whatever the event calls for. And I can work on getting you a ballpark figure as far as to how much personnel, try to put a price on chairs, try to put a price on tables. And I can give you a ballpark as far as to the in-kind contribution as a whole. The only thing I'm asking you is to give me some time to compartmentalize every event that we're looking at to give you a number as far as to how much in-kind the city has contributed to these events.
My question, Mr. Rubenez, would be, I've known we've always done in-kind. I think, we've done in-kind not just for this event, we've done in-kind for other events. What monetary contributions have we done in the past for all these events? Just who has that answer?
It has varied in the past. And as far as to the historical knowledge of this in the past, I can have John tell you, because he's the one with the knowledge as far as to what has been done in the past.
I think that's going to give us all, a clear mind of what we've done in the past, and and where we could go down the future.
One of the things,
just this event. I'm actually more interested in splitting making sure all events are taken care of. Just like Ms. Melendez says, they're for our community. They're for support of our citizens. But if we don't do it right now, before we think about it, we're going to be flipping the other way. I think we got to control in general what we're going to spend with everybody, and look at the amount, because let's say right now we do 10-5. Next comes Dia de los Muertos. Next comes Christmas. Next comes our other events for us. And I'm not going U.S., Mexico. In general, any events. Can we get the amounts that we do for events, besides in-kind, knowing the in-kind would be nice, okay, but knowing the whole dollar amount figure that we do in general can give us all an idea of what number we're looking at. What number we're looking at everybody. And like I said, not just one, all of them, and put it this way, and let's make it happen for everybody, but everybody at the, basically, we can't go, put $10 here, $10 there, next, and then all of a sudden, we got 3 more events, 4 more events, no more money. That's what I want to try to avoid. And I'm not against the event, Ms. Menendez.
No, I know.
Just want to make sure we're structured right and have, the knowledge, everybody, that what we're going to spend and make these events work.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
I have one comment. I'm sorry. I already have told Mr. Kissinger, we're not asking for the money. We want the city to pay for this. We don't want the city to give the Cultural Arts Committee the money. You are going to handle the payments. The city is going to handle the payments.
Legal. Can we do that?
Again, we have a policy in effect, and I'll make sure that everybody has a copy of that policy. And then that's going to dictate the structure of the questions and the discussion. But basically what it is you have a class under the policy, Class A events, okay? Class A events are given the support that the council determines. Money in the form of a check, that's in-kind services, use of equipment, okay? Those are the big events that the council, if they want to support. Class B and Class C events are different in that no money is given. It's only in-kind services that are provided. And it all depends on the type of event, where it falls within that category. But we have a policy, and that's a pretty good guideline if we all look at it. And then from there, we can structure the conversation.
Councilman Gradius.
I think where you're going with this is a great idea because we have time. It's not till September. It's going to come up on us quickly. But if we can get the information from the city manager, we can make a better educated decision once we have all the figures.
And, when I saw that and I was addressed, it'll be on the 18th. Our next meeting is on the 18th. We could look at it and hopefully by then, if Mr. Bermudez, we could all have that information prior to our meeting. That way we all look at it and think about it and, maybe have a executive session and we throw it at and look at our numbers and plan it out. That's all I want. I want to plan it out to make sure we're all in the same boat with everybody involved and everybody included, and that we don't leave anything out. We can open the door and say, everybody, here's the money. We can, but
That's what I said at the beginning.
we have Class A events that we already have. Let's see how we support it.
Mr. Mayor?
But in an equal way. Yes, sir.
What we're looking at, there's no doubt, Mrs. Lopez, that every, whether it be 4th of July, whether it be Christmas parade, Fiestas Patrias, I think it benefits the city, it benefits the community. My recommendation is to get all these numbers and hopefully for next budget year or budget talks, we can budget all these events that the city is collaborating with nonprofits like Cultural Arts Committee, Hilltop. I know that Councilwoman Montiel and we have met with the Hilltop Gallery, and there's plans on having it's going to be called Nogi Fest. It's going to be October 21st, and we plan on bringing in music, cultural arts, food trucks, and Mrs. Montiel, Councilwoman Montiel, right now is working on donations to cover $2,500 that it costs for the sound system. Everything else we're looking at in kind. and that'll come back to council for approval. But that's an example of another event that obviously is going to promote our community in a positive manner. But I can, if you give me an opportunity to, and I'll have those numbers for you, compartmentalize every event, and as far as to ballpark figure how much it would cost, or it is costing for in-kind services from the city.
And not only that, I'm sorry, we also have the Sinfónica coming in,
Yeah.
and that's another event that we're going to be asking.
Oh, let's make sure we, if you guys have something new, something different, I don't recall having the Sinfónica. How do we, categorize it? Let's put them on the table and let's see how we handle it.
Just make
Yes,
a
sir.
little comment. When I send you the policy, keep in mind that this is the policy of supporting local community events, other events. 4th of July, Christmas parade, those are city events. So that wouldn't be covered by this policy.
Councilor Bonilla.
Mr. Ramirez, I remember, Councilwoman Montiel was asking about the in-kind, and I do remember a sort of the breakdown of those $3,000. Am I correct? The in-kind was for paying the police officers and a trash receptacle and the porta potties, and that. Yes. So that's how we came up with that number.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much been the norm, right? Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Montiel?
Yeah, I just don't want Mr. Gradias to put words in my mouth. It's not a matter of we not supporting these activities. We're put in a very interesting predicament because now we're getting other people asking for funds, and we have to. That's why I'm involving Joe, because I think Mr. Machado, because we need to get legal involved in this, because we have to make sure that we follow whatever policies are in place in terms of category, Class A activities. And then because really, if you look at it, there's a number of Class A events, and already the city is putting in-kind into it. So is that sufficient already? Did the city put their part into supporting these community events? So we have a lot of legal questions. We need to make sure that the people, because I just talked to the Republican Party yesterday at the 4th of July, and I'm sure they have a list of things that the city of Nogales would like to support. They would like the city to support. Okay, so they have, people are going to start having their own agenda. So, Mr. Machado, the good attorney you are, can you be prepared for a meeting, an upcoming meeting, so that you can clarify all of this? What can the city do? What can the city not do? Because they're public funds. Even in-kind money is public funds. So do we, because I noticed, I looked at your paperwork, Mrs. Lopez, and I know that you're asking the city to help you pay for this because it was last year paid out of a grant. And we all know grants are not sustainable. So here's a grant that, pays for all these expenses, but the grant's not there anymore. So does the city have a responsibility to carry the weight? Well, that's interesting. That's a good question. And it's not about, liking one cultural event or not. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making sure that the public funds are going to be used legally. That's all. I don't want to get into any other problem.
I just have my last comment. At the beginning, that's why I told you, we had figured out already $100,000 for 2 nonprofits. What about the rest? So that was my concern. So we already don't have 100,000. It's gone. Now we only have 50,000 for how many?
And now 3 minutes ago, Mr. Machado said it's a different type of funding.
I got a few days ago asking also, I don't remember the amount, but for 3 nonprofits, one for mental health, autism, and so that's where do we draw the line?
Let's put it on the table. Ms. Melendez, nothing against the event. Let's put it on the table, bring it back, hopefully July 18th, and you know, us all, 6 of us, 7 of us, work at it and hopefully get it right. All agree? Huh?
In the meantime, what I would request is that, stop by the office and tell me, each one of you, what your particular questions are and what you have in mind, so I can at least, so I know what to prepare for and what you're requesting.
Questions on
the event.
or
And what you're looking for. Yeah.
can
yeah.
this be funded
Yeah,
or not?
Stuff like that.
Okay. So, all in favor of tabling this? Aye. Aye. Opposed?
No,
Thank you. So this will be in the agenda on May 18th, July 18th. Going to orders. A, in consideration and possible action of order 2023-07-034, an order of the City Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, designating the chief fiscal officer for officially submitting the fiscal year 2024 expenditures limitation report to the Arizona Auditor General.
so movie.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. B, consideration and possible action of order 2023-07-035, an order of the City Council of the City of Nogales, Arizona, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the Nogales High School District 1 for the reimbursement of the salaries and employee-related expenses for 2 police school resources officers at the Nogales High School and the Wade Carpenter Middle School for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chuck. Vice Mayor. Mayor's report and events. Mr. Bonilla, why don't you start over there?
On council report? Okay, I attended last week a seminar or clinic with the Arizona Peer and Family Career Academy. And what I learned, and because they give you a certificate of completion and all that, but what's nice is that they show you how to deal with different organizations as far as with opiates and trying to rebuild their lives and stuff like that. And I learned a lot, and there's going to be I'm going to try to play some network with these people and work with the city, because I think it's a great opportunity with this organization, with working with youth and adults as well. And how we can, as a city, help them rebuild, how to get them out of that hole they're in. We can be that stepping stone to help them reintegrate themselves into the society. And we know right now that there's a lot of we have a crisis here with opiates and stuff like that. So I met a lot of people with different entities in the state, and I will be bringing some proposals to have some new programs with them, and I hope that the council would approve them. But because we get really a chance to at a more personal level help our citizens, help them move forward, as the phrase that we're coining now. I think for the longest time, we hear about mental health and people who have problems with opiates. I learned a lot. And it just opened my understanding on how we can work with these entities. And that's where I was last week for 3 days. It was long. It was started at 9 and we finished around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. But I have a greater understanding for that. And that's right. I went to the 4th of July event also yesterday. So that's it for me.
Oh, it's coming this week. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you. I guess I'll go back a little when we did the 100-year ceremony there at the post office. And, well, Mayor Maldonado gave a few words, and there was a few of us there. But I also wanted to go and mention that we also, I joined Mayor Maldonado across the border on discussions about rain harvesting from both sides of the border, but especially the water that's being run off from the Mexico side towards the United States, and how they're trying to plan a dam that'll become a recreation center, but mostly be able to help harvest the rain that comes down so that it won't come gushing down the community and flood the street and end up here on the port of Deconcini. So they got some interesting things going on, and I was very pleased to see the joint effort that our mayor is trying to achieve and support. Not that it's going to, most of the cost, of course, is going to come from the Mexican side, but yet they need us as kind of, again, to be that support, that we're united as a community, and whatever we can do, well, we'll see down the road. If we can, we'll do it. If not, well, we'll still continue to at least try to see what the bigger agencies here in the U.S. can do. And so I think there we can be of some help. But anyway, the other items that I recollect, there was also, we had the bikers come down here at City Hall for their annual ride, the Sonoran Bikers. And we also, that evening, had a concert, not at the Linea, what's the name of the other building that I guess the family, Corey family has? But again, there you go, thank you. And so, again, it's nice to see, even though right now they're small gatherings, but there are people from the community, 50 to maybe 80 folks that get together and enjoy that, and they're able to kind of have a community fellowship there. So that's kind of nice. And again, the other thing that I guess that was about it. I'm trying to think. It's yet to come. But anyway, those are some of the things that I was fortunate to be involved with.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody that gave us a very, very good event for 4th of July. It was a good event. And then I'm going to table all my cultural activities until you figure out what you're going to do. I have many people involved, so I'll let them know that you have to figure out how to help us. That's all. Thank you.
May I make a correction, Ms. Melendez? We got to figure it out. It's a group. Todos.
Yeah.
Yep.
Until you figure out.
You're part of it.
Well, I gave you my report. I already gave you the information, and still you need more information. So that's why that information I'm going to give the people we're working till you figure out what to do.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gradias.
I'm glad that we were able to come up with a balanced budget, and thank staff for all their hard work and bringing our lower level tier employees up to a reasonable wage, which we're still going to be working on. I also want to thank the mayor for inviting me to a meeting with Mr. Raul Gupta, the Director of National Drug Control Policy. It was a great meeting that we had with him. It's great to see big federal government politicians down in our area, and especially taking their time to meet with local government officials. And he's got a lot of great ideas. He's pushing for a lot of infrastructure for the ports also, which will benefit us greatly, and especially tackling this fentanyl problem that our community is starting to face a little more. So that was great insight. Talking face to face with this gentleman was very eye-opening, and he looks like a really good person that's going to do a lot for small communities, because he actually comes from a small community in Alabama, I believe he said. So that was a highlight for me. Thank you.
Ms. Montiel?
You're Republican or Democrat?
I'm not sure. I didn't check his spread.
No, I just want to say thank you to everyone involved in putting the 4th of July together. It was a lot of work. Thank you, Parks and Rec, and of course, John, the new city manager. Thank you, and everyone. I mean, there's so many people to thank, because it takes a village to get this huge event going. And I do want to say that there were apparently so many people. That's another thing that Mr. Machado is going to think about, because I think there's too many people for that area. And the only comments that I got was that, there's just too many people in that field. Maybe we can start thinking about some other ideas where, I don't know where, but use both fields. I mean, I was there, and there is a lot of people, but everything went smoothly thanks to all the employees that were involved, and all the small businesses that were there. They ran out of food, which is a good thing, and everything went well. Thank you. I know it was your first event as a city manager, right? A big event. Thank you for all your support.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Basically, we had Citizen Diplomacy Alliance here, Ms. Pat Wilson, and Ignite Kids from Colorado, Washington. Mr. Gradillas, you were there, no? It was Bermudez and Mr. Jimenez. And these kids were high school students. Like I said, Colorado, Washington, Texas, North Carolina, what other state?
All over the
I
U.S.
think Oregon was also one of them. And, they're interested on what we do, what happens at the border. They were very surprised how easy it was to walk around, with all the news, everything that comes out in the news, they expected something different, and they were a nice surprise. Went to the post office 100 years. That luncheon with Mr. Gupta was great guy. He's bringing in good things for all ports, talking about the X-ray machine for everything, even maybe humans. So, it's should speed up everything. And he also talked about putting X-rays, because he was surprised that we're one of the few borders that checks going south, that does it on a regular basis. So those X-rays machines might be going for cars going into Mexico also. He's very concerned on the building at the Deacon Cini. He said, find a way to move it, don't destroy it. So hopefully, GSA comes out with a good solution on that one. Went to the Bikers Festival, Nogales, Sonora. Then they came here to our office. We did a little parade here in Nogales. I'm glad we as a council put the housing director finally to bed, and we got a good person working there. Hopefully everything's going to work out. Attended a little festivity for Miss Biedenbach. That's another thing. Hopefully we're trying to get her something for next meeting. Give her a little plaque or something as far as to our acknowledgement to her hard work that she supported Nogales. She's been tremendously great on everything she's done. So hopefully we can invite her on the next meeting and give her something to remind us from. Then I was in Phoenix for Hermanamientos seminar. It was, I was actually the one of 3 mayors in Arizona and there were probably at least 18 from Mexico. And I think it was very good that I was one of the few present, but we had representatives from Hobbs, we had representatives from Kelly's, we had representative, actually Governor Durazo was there, and a lot of the consuls. So I think, again, we're putting Nogales in the map. And I express my interest in, it's not just come through Nogales, it's come to Nogales. So besides that, really, really, really enjoyed the 4th of July yesterday. I think the community really enjoyed it. Thanks everybody, the board that put it together, the committee, John, Ms. Travers, thank you. You're falling asleep. And, 2 hours is good enough. No, but thank you for everything. Thank your guys, all the crews. I actually stayed till probably maybe 3 or 4 vendors left. I was probably, one of the last ones to go. I stayed there, sat in the corner as they go up the hill, and said thank you to all of them go up. So really enjoyed it. Everything was great. I heard the music was great. All the vendors did very good. We really, really, like Esther says, we can't be the same next year. We got to always make it better. So that's the hard part. So thank you, Mr. Bermudez, for supporting it and having everybody do a great job. And it was excellent. Any future items? Yes, sir.
We have Councilman.
Oh, sorry about that, Mr. Bojorquez. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, good evening. No, I have nothing to report on this meeting. I'm sure I'm going to list a couple of things for the following meeting, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Anything for future agenda items?
I'd like to put just the Music Fest, just a presentation by the Hilltop and myself to present to the council and board ideas about the Music Fest.
Which is the Nogi Fest that you're talking? No.
What did I call it? I'm a little tired. Yeah, the Nogi Fest. Thank you. Huh? Woodstock, yeah. Okay. August, right? Or when is the next? Yeah, I'm really.
18th of July.
Yeah, this is a couple of. Whenever. What, the 18th, or you want it in August? Because we had talked about August, remember?
It's up to you. You want it in August? We can put it in
18th
August.
is fine.
Okay.
18th.
Well.
Thank you.
18th or August?
18th.
Okay. July 18th, sir.
Okay, we'll do.
Anybody else have? Go ahead, Mr. Bonillas.
I have for a future agenda for possible discussion and action on the study on utilities rates.
Okay.
If I could.
Anything else, sir? Okay, Ms. Montiel.
Thank you for reminding me, Saulo. How about adding to it about, I'm getting calls about people paying their utilities bill out in the sun here. Are we talking about the same thing? Citizens not having like a place for here available for them to come and pay?
My agenda is I need to know if we're covering the costs of our enterprise funds.
Oh, okay.
But I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, because I think we talked about that. So, Mr. Machado, apparently there's a contract with the city should provide an office for people to come and pay their utility bill here.
You mean municipal?
Unisource, yeah. And so if we could just have a follow-up on that. Okay, thank you.
I never heard that. Do we?
We have a franchise agreement with it.
Franchise.
But as far as taking payment for
As part of litigation, they were required to have set up a payment office. and it was closed because of COVID and all that stuff. So I don't know the status at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I can just give you an update, last week, you and I attended a meeting with the ADOT Deputy Director, the new Deputy Director from ADOT.
Thank you, sir.
Along with the Colonel Danny Lugo, who's the new liaison or the person from DPS in charge of overseeing ADOT. Mr. Jaime Chamberlain was there. Mr. Memo Valencia was there, part of the Port Authority, and a slew of other folks were there. It was a very productive meeting. And they talked about the crossing of trucks and the comportment of officers at the crossing that border. One of the things that Mr. Chamberlain brought up, and we had been talking about this for several months already, is the backing up of traffic going southbound, both on I-19 and on Mariposa, which has become a problem the last year or so. If you're not in line by 3 o'clock, you're in for a wait. And we've been having a lot of issues as far as to enforcement of or calls for service of people cutting in line. And there's even been videos after the fact of even altercations between people cutting in line there. I'm happy to say that Colonel Lugo from DPS jumped on this immediately, and we're going to have a meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock here at City Hall to look at traffic patterns and what we can do to alleviate and mitigate that problem of traffic going southbound, along with he's also going to meet. I am also invited the sheriff's office because they're also going to look at the traffic impact at exit 12 in the county. So just to give you an update, that's what we're working on, and just rest assured that we'll take care of that problem.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else have anything? Okay, thank you. Nothing more. I move to adjourn this meeting. Thank you. And all in favor? All right, opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Great meeting.